feel like I have a porn addiction, because
me too.
I think a lot more people do than they think or would like to admit. There are some times I could spend like 12 hours searching and wasting my day. And it really, for me, I do it as a way to avoid either responsibility or stress, or sometimes avoid feelings of rejection or not feeling enough. And it's almost my way of like castrating myself, kind of, where if I'm getting sexual thoughts and I'm like, oh, but maybe I can't get this guy, I could almost like take myself out of the game.
There's a video.
Yeah. And also, like, you know, if I climax, I'm not going to have that interest anymore. So I won't be going on those apps and trying to find someone in that moment. Or if I go to a bar and if I do that before, then I won't have this sexual thought driving me and giving me this feeling of like people are out of my league. So over 2 years ago, it's kind of a joke. People talk about No Fap November. Fapping means like, it's an internet speak for jacking off. And I took it seriously that November 2020. I actually went 27 days with no porn, no jacking off, and it was very, very transformative. Ever since then, I've been trying to lower it. I haven't been able to quit like cold turkey, but I've gone like almost 2 months. I go on some really good streaks. And the fact of the matter is, now when I do look it up, I look it up for maybe less than an hour, which is such an improvement compared to 12 hours. And also, I look it up so much less frequently. I feel like on average, I look it up maybe like less than once a week. So, you know, if we could just flip a switch and not be addicted to something, that would be great. But we really do have to celebrate these wins.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, when I started to make an intentional effort to not watch it anymore, I had to replace those many, many hours with other habits. So it was only like maybe 1 or 2 weeks after I stopped watching porn that I started to exercise. I started to actually work out, because I didn't really before. Then eventually that led to me doing Kegels, Korean facial exercises. Then after like 2 months, I started to like be intentional about what I eat and tracking like the protein amounts and preparing my own food. And it just snowballed further and further and further. Making that intentional effort of not watching porn, even though I still watched it here and there, I was replacing that bad habit with so many other good habits. I cannot imagine where I would be today. And I would absolutely not feel as confident in who I am if I wasn't making all of those steps that I was neglecting before. Even though I was confident before, I broke the barrier after trying to stop watching porn.
It's a different kind of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, because I very much had the mental confidence. I felt like, you know, I'm always working on myself. If there's ever a problem in my life, I don't complain about it for very long before I take action. And I have great friends in my life, and that's a reflection of me, as a matter of fact. So like, I am showing off a part of me that is, you know, a positive part. And that's why I have those people in my life. And also, I intentionally don't keep people in my life that aren't that. But then after, truly we're more than just our thoughts. After I started to cut out porn and exercise and eat right, I felt even more confident in the mirror. I also felt confident that I wasn't going to live in chronic pain as I got old, because I would wake up with muscle aches at night in my shoulder and neck. And I haven't had that. I've had that once in 2 years since working out. I used to have it once a month at least. And that's a fear of mine. I'm not afraid of dying, but I am afraid of chronic pain and dying a slow, painful death. If it's quick and painful, that's okay with me. So
yeah, I'd rather that.
Yeah, working out and strengthening my muscles has truly gotten rid of that very existential fear, minimized it, that very existential fear of mine of possibly dying in a slow way. Because now I know, like, if I keep this up until old age, my muscles won't be like breaking down as much as other people who never exercise and probably need to take pills just to be able to move their arm in the morning.
Yeah, that's also something I was surprised to observe in myself when I stopped watching porn. Like you, I started recovery in November 2020. And I didn't even know I was addicted to porn, actually. First of all, I didn't even know porn addiction was a thing, let alone my thing. But when I did stop, then I realized that I could remember my dreams all of a sudden. And I felt like I had more space in my mind to think.
Mm-hmm.
I was so surprised.
That's so interesting that we did it at the same time. It's those random things that make me imagine like there's more connection in the world than we could see or feel. But I would actually be interested to know like what inspired you to think I should make a change in this.
I was trying to have sex and it was impossible to have an erection. So I thought, what's going on? Because when I watch porn, I have no problem. So what's the difference? And then one thing led to another. I ended up in a 12-step for porn addiction. And then I understood the symptoms, and I'm still working on, not watching porn and just getting on with my life.
Yeah, I had a very similar reason too. Part of it is, this idea in the gay community of being like hypersexual and hooking up all the time. And I just wasn't very interested in it. And I was very self-conscious about my sexual prowess. So I tried to stop watching porn for that same reason too. I wanted to be able to have better erections, to feel like I was like raring to go, like just a wild animal. And thankfully, like it started with that and it's ended up becoming more internal, like replacing bad habits with good ones. But for me too, it started with that external validation of wanting people to be like, you're a good sexual partner.
No, you're the best. That's what I was after.
Yeah. I mean, the best is subjective. I'm sure there are people that think you're the best, but not 100% of the people in the world could think that.
Of course, but that was my ego talking, because I was so, I still am insecure, but less now than before. Before that was horrible.
Yeah, and we all have insecurities, but I wouldn't say like I am insecure. Like I have insecurities and you have insecurities, but you're Pierre. You're not, hi, I'm insecure. You have insecurities, just like you have bills and debt and many, many things. Well, maybe you don't have debt. I don't know. But
I do have that.
So sometimes I think it's good to separate who we are from something we're feeling.
Yeah, that's very true. That's now you speak like a life coach.